This entire video has been made on a Nokia Lumia 620 phone using Movie Maker 8.1. No computer desktops were used or anything. It was produced and recorded entirely on the phone and uploaded via the phone. Random fact of the day. Exodus 22:18 says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live," but it was originally, "Thou shalt not suffer a poisoner to live." King James changed it. Annoying or what? Since about 1200 AD, about 40 to 60,000 witches have been executed in Europe for being witch. 25% of them male, though in France it was 50-50 who went to trial. They're more an equal opportunities employer, so to speak. But this fear of witchcraft has been rooted out by the church for ages. In 1542, Henry VIII passed an act banning it, which was the first, and there's a few successive acts that stayed on statute till 1951, where it was replaced with the Fraudulent Mediums Act, which prevented you from claiming to be a psychic, medium, or spiritualist if you were after money. That in turn's been repealed in 2008. So it's like finally an enlightened Europe. Most of the modern witchcraft and magic is generally of the modern era. It can be traced back really to probably Aleister Crowley and Gerald Gardner. But while some people say that Gerald Gardner made the entire thing up about his being initiated into a coven and stuff like that, you should consider in the States Charles Leyland wrote the book The Aradia in 1899, which was supposedly came from Tuscany witches, and he also received the same treatment. That it wasn't based in fact. But when you consider the likes of Mother Shipton, which was 1288, no, 1488, I think, who was a prophetess, and things like the Egyptians and Mayans and all that kind of thing, you have to admit that magic has been pretty much there throughout history, kind of thing. And it's like people weren't burnt for no reason whatsoever, even though a lot of the crimes were verging on the ridiculous. Hobble. Things like dosing today are still used to like find like water and gas and that. So taking a pendulum and trying to like locate, say, treasure or money on a map, which Henry VIII outlawed, isn't an unusual occurrence. Reiki healing is widespread today. It's like Hands of Light's a good book that kind of covers that kind of thing, faith healing. Seeing the future, even I've had glimpses or been shown the future in 24 hours, which I've discussed in one of my other videos. However, nowhere near like Nostradamus or Mother Shipton's level. Bubble, toil, and trouble. Not a good time to be a witch. Has it ever? See, considering magic, I would split it into two branches. You've got the law of attraction on one hand, and you've got spiritual entities on the other. The law of attraction considers everyone as like vibrational beings of energy that can transmit and receive information. And if you think in a positive mindset and visualize you getting something, then the law of attraction works in your favor and you get it eventually. So if you visualize yourself having a car, you'd get the money to get the car eventually. type thing, or people of like mind attract to each other, that type of thing. If you think negative, then you draw negative experiences towards you, which is all well and good, I suppose, but it's like, how do you think positive all the time? That's harder said than done, and there's hundreds of books written on the subject. The other form of magic, spirit, is when a spiritual entity, whether it be demon, angel, dead person, someone who's passed over, who's one of your family, whispers in someone's ear and gives you a helping hand, like you receive information in dreams, that kind of thing, and clairaudience, voices or whispers in thoughts type thing that come to mind that are getting passed on, and people may or may not act on. With all branches of magic, the work seems to be positive in nature, i.e., the law of attraction. It's, you think positive, you get something that's positive. It's like, so what about curses, which the Egyptians were good at, and negative magic and stuff? And it's like, surely that lot doesn't work because everyone works for the greater good, unless you start factoring in things like karma and retribution for deeds done in previous lives, perhaps. Would that give an incentive that on your life path, that every so often you've got to go through certain bad experiences to make up for what you did? In which case, spirit will work against you in order to give you those experiences. Is that you or third parties? Why a spell works. It's just reinforcing positive thinking. You believe it works, so it works. And when you do a spell, you do the visualization and stuff of the whatever it is you're trying to achieve already happening. So if you take a candle spell, for instance, that just, when the very act of the candle burning down, when you've prepared it, your brain is thinking that thing is happening, so it reinforces it, and the spiritual realm knows what you're doing and what your intent is, so they can go along and bring it as well. And if you listen out in dreams and thoughts and stuff, you can, in meditation, you can get feedback on that type of thing. The saying goes, if you practice black magic, then the negative thing will happen to you first before it happens to someone else. So it's like, do you want to pay the price? Not that I believe in that kind of thing,